Well, it's that time again. Let me explain this video. It's a little bit confusing. We have been working in the house, pulling out the flooring and replacing it. And if you've seen the other videos, you saw carpet stacked up and a bunch of stuff like that. One of the things is we pulled some oak wood that I put in probably 20 years ago or close to it. And it wasn't a very large area. It was really just a foyer like. And when we pulled it up, I mean, it was really in good shape. It'd been there, a long time, but it held up well and did pretty good. It's only 3/8 of an inch thick, but it's all oak and it's like plywood. And the one thing that I did find out later is that each layer runs in a different direction. So in turning this, basically you're turning against the grain on it, no matter which way it's going, you're turning against the grain. And it's pretty hard stuff. It's definitely dried out. So I just didn't know what to do to get rid of it. I didn't want to burn it with that finish on it. Didn't really know what it is or anything like that. So I decided to cut the tongue and grooves off of the sides and then cut it up into 12-inch sections. And I needed about 32 12-inch sections to make 12 inches wide. So I decided just to laminate it together. And I knew that the laminating was going to be really important. The segmented bowl had very bad lamination. This actually turned out good. I was able to learn a bunch from that first type of laminating wood to make it come together. So I'm cutting it up 12-inch sections right there. And then I've got to take this finish off of it because the glue's not going to stick to the slick finish. And I'm not sure if it's urethane or exactly what it is. So I've taken a belt sander with 60 grit and just taken off the finish down to the oak top layer. And I'm not going to go through all 32 pieces of that. I think it's 30, 32, something like that. Well, at least I can change the angle so that I can see it a little bit better or show you what I'm doing. It didn't take long to do just one of them. The only problem is there was a lot of them. And I would say really and truly each one took me probably 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know how long I spent doing all this, but finally I got them done and blew them off, then kind of sorted them and looked at the edges and all, because see, I didn't plan on keeping them or keeping all this when I pulled it up. Some of them had big nail holes in it, and some of them not big but had nail holes in it, and the wood underneath was maybe had big knots or something like that. So I kind of put all that in the middle because I am making a bowl platter, something like that. And you can see on that one piece of wood, it's basically, it's not rotten or anything. It's just the wood is just kind of ate up or bad. That's the way it came. It had a little bit of bark on it. So I was putting it in the middle and making sure that's on the top. Don't worry, we'll get to the turning. Still sorting. So now I'm going to glue them up. And I figured I'd do it in 2 sections and then come back the next day and just do the two sections together. And actually, that's a brand new bottle, and I went through every bit of it. So this bowl was one of those things. About halfway through it, it's one of those things I just said, I'm going to do it. I don't care what it takes, and I want to take my time and do it right. And so basically that's what I did, and I think I couldn't have done any better. I thought about staining it. I was trying to think of what it was going to look like, and starting off with some really nice planks or flooring. I don't know why I thought it was going to look like that, but we'll get into that later. So got it all laminated. Had about, I don't know how many clamps, and then all of a sudden I realized it is 12 inches and it won't turn on my lathe. And I had already cut it down and trimmed it and cut it down, and I just didn't want to keep doing that. So I realized that I could turn it what they call outboard turning, where you turn the lathe sideways and it's hanging off the side. I'd never done that, but I figured that's why it was made to do it, and they gave me a piece that would help me actually turn it on the side, or at least get the tool rest in the right position. And you kind of have to see the other side of the lathe. It's got a real short little deck that you can put this extension piece on. By the way, I forgot to say that I had used hot glue to glue on a waste block, so that's what's holding it. And I was also kind of thinking how I was going to turn this, and there's not a whole lot in between me and this spinning piece of solid oak. It's heavy in this state anyway. I'm sorry about the camera angle. I didn't think I would be on that side very long, and I kind of wasn't. It only took a while just to get it rounded and get those little places that were hitting taken off. All right, so I've got it put back. All the little bumps that were, lots of them that were hidden. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I said anything about this, but this wood, I don't know why, but it is so dusty. As you can see, I mean, it was a mess, and the whole place is covered in dust. I mean, just within 5 minutes, it's like it's smoking, but it's not. It's just the dust, and it's extremely hard. I'm not whining. It was just surprising to me. So I'm trying to get this is the bottom of the bowl, trying to get it leveled, and then cut the mortise in there so I can turn it around and take the waste block off. Now I'm cutting that out, and it's just with the carbide tip, and I'm pushing, and it's really doesn't seem like it's doing anything, and it's a new one. So finally I got something out that would cut. I couldn't use it early on because it was so rough and uneven. It would just grab real bad, and I didn't want to hurt it or myself. So the look that I'm going for pretty much is something with a kind of a raised bottom that's going kind of upwards, where you kind of see the base that it's sitting on, and the inside does the same thing. It has kind of a flat, a little bit larger than the base, but a flat section, and then it starts raising up with at a slight angle. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking, gosh, this looks like plywood. I could have bought plywood and just cut pieces of plywood, but I guess this is why they call it reclaimed, and trying to take something instead of just getting rid of it, make something with it. And this is certainly better than a trash can or the fireplace or anything like that. It it did come out pretty smooth, and now I've kind of refined the bottom a little bit more and sanding it down. I knew I was going to put a resin finish because of how dry it was, and also I wanted the resin to help hold it together just in case. So of course I sanded from 80 to 400, and it felt slick when I was done, but there were still holes in it from the nails. Each board had maybe 3 holes, so out of the 30, probably 10 of them have holes in them. As you can see, the waste block isn't really centered. It is centered, but it's not round, is what I meant to say. And it was just one that I used. It worked out real good. So I kind of kept thinking that this could be a good way to just turn the edge of it, get the glue or a lot of the glue off of it, and then pry it off. All right, now we're just hollowing it out, turning it into a bowl, something we can put things in. I don't know if this is a bowl or a platter. I've been trying to think about that when it comes time to title it. Well, I got the bowl gouge out with the Irish grind, and it's doing fine. I'm still a little leery of it grabbing. In my mind, I'm thinking it's going to grab and everything's going to come apart. It didn't. It did well, and I certainly enjoyed some of this cutting. Well, I'm sorry about my head getting in the way. Trying to make sure I wasn't going to go out through the bottom. So we got it all done. This is the inside, and I decided to use some of the Starbond in some of the different places that actually came off, uh, and then I didn't want to do all the holes. I figured I would leave some of the holes. I didn't want it to look like that it was just a nice piece of wood. It is what it is. It came from my past, and it came from this house. But I did fill up most of the big ones because I knew the resin wouldn't just go to those places. So since I added some of the Starbond, I needed to sand and clean all that up. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. Just mostly in the areas I had already sanded with 80 and 180, and then went back and did the Starbond. So now just kind of started back with the 80 and 180. Just kind of hitting those places, trying to make them look good. As far as the resin goes, I had that on a video. I've been having problems with this video the whole time I've been recording the voiceover and just getting some of these files to play. I don't know what's going on, but I'm fixing to jump to the resin. Actually, I'm jumping to the second coat. This right here is the first coat of resin, and then everything's sanded down. And so I'm fixing to put the second coat. And yes, I'm indoors. The first coat took 2 days to dry. It has gotten kind of cold, and I hadn't done any resin in the cold, and now I know why. And yes, I have a vent fan going, and this is a bathroom that's downstairs. But still, I've got the vent going. And of course, I've got it speeded up so it doesn't actually turn this fast. But I did the first coat just like this, and then I sanded it. Or after several days, it had enough bugs in it that it was crazy. I thought they were gone. Speaking of the speed of it, this particular one turns at 14 revolutions per minute, so it's the right speed for stacking on the resin, making it thick. As a matter of fact, I was thinking maybe of just showing how slow it really does turn. I think I'll do that right now. So this is more of the way that I see it. Here again, just mentioning this, it's probably 3 days of working with this, and I don't know how many hours of actually sanding and turning. I speeded it back up. We'd be here all day. Not really, but it would make the video a lot longer. Well, I want to thank y'all for watching, and I want to tell you how much I really would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. It would not only give me a little push to do better, but if people would leave a comment, I think that would also help me to realize that there are people out there that are watching it, and that these people are not just my family and trying to support me or make me feel good. But I do appreciate everybody that has subscribed, and it means a lot to me, and everybody that has watched the videos that I make. I want to get better and I want to keep trying, but I just kind of feel like I'm not really sure if I'm going in the right direction or the wrong direction. Feel free to tell me. If you're honest, I'll take it. So there's a picture here at the end of it, and it looks more like the color. By the way, this is an LED bulb that's illuminating in here, so it does look a little different. And remember, God is good.